Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Citizens of the world, welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of August 7th. I'm Michael James. I'm still here with Euan Hague. And you know how we usually start this program off each week with some miserable things going on in the world, like a war in Iran? We really like to end the show on a really positive note. And we discovered Peter Schulte up in Bellingham, Washington, who does a website, emails, etc., called Good News for Humankind. Good day to you, Peter, and glad to have you.
Great to be here, Michael. Thanks again for having me. Yeah.
So we've got a few minutes here at the end of the show. How about you tell us a few things that you would say are good news for humankind?
Sure. Okay, so one from yesterday, New Jersey has declared itself as functional zero on veteran homelessness. So they've spent $30 million over the last few years on a program. And this functional zero means not literally that there's no houseless veterans out on the street, but when they are, it's, brief, and they get them off the streets quickly. So it's hard to verify this, but they've declared themselves as at functional zero, which is really good news. And it really shows that, sometimes we think of homelessness or houselessness as this problem that we just there's nothing we can do about it. And there is something we can do about it when we have the will and care to do so.
Was there any detail on how they did it?
No, I know it was through a big investment, but I don't really honestly know the details of the mechanics of it. Yeah, sorry.
Well, that's good news. Okay, how about something else?
Yeah, another one. China, for really the first time ever, is getting less than half of its electricity from coal. So coal has dropped below the majority marker as they just, China is just pouring investment into solar and wind and other renewables. This is really good news that it shows like the needle is moving. And it's also important to clarify that their absolute use of coal is still rising. They still use more coal than the rest of the world combined. So it's not like the end of the story, but I think it's moving the needle, and their coal use is projected to plateau and begin to declining around 2030. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've been so short-sighted here in the United States under the Trump administration the last few years, paying renewable energy companies to go away and abandon projects. It's just been so backwards.
And, I think I mentioned this last time, even with coal, it's just like the economics of it don't even make sense anymore. So pushing it, maybe it makes a few people wealthy, but it doesn't make sense for the economy. Yeah. But, even in the States, that's playing out. And despite the administration, there's a bunch of investment in solar and wind and other renewables. That actually leads me to another story. So California, it's just one state, but it's on its own. It's like the fourth or fifth or something like that biggest economy in the world. And it now gets more. This is kind of the inverse of the China one. My hair's kind of going crazy. It gets now more than 50% of its energy from solar. So it's, despite anything the administration doing, California, at least, and many other states are rapidly moving forward. One of the things I love that California is doing, before this, my career was in water and climate sustainability. One thing California has pioneered is they put solar panels on the canals. And so it keeps the canals from losing water to evaporation. And it just, miles and miles and miles of good location for their solar panels.
You're meaning like irrigation canals in the agricultural areas?
There's all these water projects across the strait delivering water here and there, and they can put solar panels right on top, and it's kind of a win-win.
On a connected note, I saw somewhere that some farmers are putting solar panels in their field, but growing plants underneath them. that there are.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a way to shade things. It's more space, but then it also creates, a more diverse kind of things for different plants to grow. So there's a lot of really cool kind of win-win scenarios there. Yeah.
Before I forget, Peter, how do people find your information online?
Yeah, I'm at peterschulte.org. They can sign up for my free newsletter at peterschulte.org/newsletter. Yeah. Good.
All right. Give us some more good news for Humankind, because we're looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, let's see what else I've got here. All right. So Kazakhstan, it's actually a huge Central Asian nation. And it's there's this species called the saiga antelope. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it was down 20 years ago. It was down to 25,000 individuals, and it's since rebounded to over 4.5 million. Enough for it to win the 2024 Earthshot Prize in Conservation, and it's just a major conservation success story. So that's a good one.
Tell me again who in Kazakhstan, what happened?
It's the saiga antelope. So it's like a species of antelope.
Oh, so there's they got a lot more animals running around in Kazakhstan.
There was a really concerted effort to rebuild their population, and it's worked. And, I have tons of stories like that. Almost too many to put in there. But, of course, there are animals being endangered and going extinct. That's still happening. But there also are, so many success stories around the world. Another one, Nepal's wild tiger population is, exploding after being decimated. So that's a cool one. I love tigers, so... there's just a bunch of stories like that.
Well, I've been reading a lot about bears in Japan, and
I've seen that one.
It's getting to be an issue. I mean, there are more and more bears closer to humans, and check it out.
And when we were in Scotland, we at the safari park there, the snow leopard, which is a very endangered species as well, had just had twins, and so we saw them on one of their first public viewings. A couple, not often you associate Scotland with snow leopards, but in captivity, they're managing to have a breeding couple that has produced twins. Which, given those low populations of those animals, anything is, these are all steps towards conservation and sort of making sure we as humans are responsible stewards of the planet.
Absolutely. Another one I'm remembering is humpback whales globally. I think in 1986, when the whaling ban went in place, we're down to 10,000, and they're now up to 100,000. Wow. So they're rebounding. They just saw the largest super group of, I forget what it's called, of humpback whales. It was 226 all right next to each other. The biggest group of humpback whales ever seen. So that's another cool one.
That's cool.
You're up in Bellingham, but I know that in parts of Washington State, there's a bunch of fires going on. Anything on that?
Yeah, not in the good news category. It's really, it's pretty clearly bad news. It seems like it's arson related in part. I was born in Spokane, where a lot of the fires are. My sister lives there now. I was just there 2 weeks ago to send my kid to summer camp. It's really devastating to see it like that. It's smoky here in Bellingham, but I wish I had good news for you on that front. But no, it's really sad. And this time of the year is so bittersweet. It's summer and a lot of fun things, but just more and more it's smoky. And I'm just realizing how many trees and other creatures out there are not.
Peter, we have a few minutes left, so keep socking it to us with some good news for humankind.
All right, I'll keep up the good vibes.
Let's get back to the positives.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Since 2024, there was a big summit in Africa. There has been $3 billion invested in clean cooking. So one of the leading causes of death in the world is actually people in poorly ventilated homes burning coal or firewood or other things, and the smoke gets captured in their house, and there's particulate matter, and it can cause pneumonia, I think. But it's, one of the less talked about major causes of death around the world. So there's this big push, especially in Africa, to offer electric cooking or other better ventilated cooking that just is a major public health win. And there's just been billions and billions of dollars put into it, which is a major win. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, again, some of that is solar powered, right? A lot of it, I think, is solar powered again, like solar ovens and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the solar, it's not better for their health, but it's more, if they're not attached to a grid, it's a little bit more resilient. So regardless of what's happening elsewhere, that, they have a little bit more autonomy that way. So a lot of wins. Yeah.
Okay. How about two more?
Two more. Okay. Indonesia has achieved universal health coverage, I guess, for 98% of its population.
Wow.
Yeah. And Indonesia is like top 3 or 4 most populated countries in the world. It's huge. And it now has a unified insurance program across the country that serves, I guess, 98% of its.
Wow. They estimate 290 million people live in Indonesia.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's the US is about is over 300 million. But I mean, if they can achieve it, and they're scattered across multiple islands, if they can achieve it, it's something that should be, and it's a challenge to the United States still. Congrats to Indonesia. Well, people, or at least certain politicians don't want it, but I think, true.
Logistically, it could be possible. It'd be a major investment and some transition, but many countries around the world have shown that it's very possible.
Yeah. Well, we are out of time, so we're going to leave it at that. And we're going to thank